Okay, wonderful. All right, so I just want to just deal with some things with this topic I made for the streets. And really the concept of this message, by now, I think everyone's supposed to have a proper concept of it, because we are really talking about the place where you are positioned, where you're supposed to function, not so much is in the church, but it's in the street, or what we call the marketplace. Okay, because I really believe that the preparation in terms of what you receive as we gather together, as we congregate together, you are being developed, you are being mature, you are growing. But then the question is then, what are we doing? All right, when you leave the sanctuary, what are we doing? And I'm going to challenge some of you, even as we transition again from 24 into 25. Okay, in terms of, all right, in terms of what are you doing, whether it's home, whether it's business, whether it's in your community, what are you doing? All right, so we're going to just touch this a little bit again so that we can really, really get some clarity. Now, when you look at, for instance, when you look at church per se, all right, and I'm not bashing or anything, we're just bringing some clarity and some meaning to why we are positioned where we are positioned, and what are we doing, what we're supposed to be doing. Okay, I think that is very, very important for us to clear. All right, because to me, it's not a matter of just going to church, okay, and being educated, being informed, being equipped, but you spend most of your time not so much in the church, but you spend more time home, you spend more time on your job, you spend more time on your business, you spend more time in the community. And I truly believe, when you read the word of God, those are the places where you are to be making the greater impact. Okay, take for instance, like I remember sometime, and I'm just chatting with you all. Remember sometime I went to a function, and I met this lady who had just she had just retired from a job, and she's someone who were in church for years. Okay, when I say in church for years, probably about 30 years or 40 years. And we having this discussion. So she was saying to me concerning, she had just retired from a job, she just get an award. So my question to her now, so what are you going to do? And then she began to share with me concerning, well, she goes to church and she's in this, in that. I say, well, all that is good. I say, well, what are you going to do now in terms of, you have been in church for 40 years? And I started questioning her, all right, being in different departments in the church, all that she covered. And I asked her, so do you have a cell group home? No. Do you have a group of women, a group of 5, a group of 10, a group of 3 that you're working with? No. All right. Do you evangelize? No. Do you have one person you're working with? No. Okay. So I said, well, so what are you doing? And I'm sharing this with you because it was at that time the woman realized that she had spent all these time in church, all right, being educated, being informed, being equipped, but yet she did not do anything. Listen to me. In the marketplace, or the streets, we call it, on her job, in her family, in her community, she did nothing at all. So all that years, 40 years, you a Christian, you're going to church, you're going to all the conferences, you're going to all the meetings, you're on the director on the boards and all that stuff, but yet you never made an impact in your community, in your home, on your job. You never made an impact. And that is what I'm challenging those of you who are on. Okay, what it is, and my question to you, even as you on this live tonight, my question to you, what impact have you made, whether it's in your family, whether it's in your community, whether it's on your job? Who are you working with? Okay, Who are you discipling? Who are you witnessing to? What it is are you doing? What are you doing with all the information, the knowledge, the revelation you have been getting? What is the purpose for where you are positioned? And I'm asking you this because I want to challenge you, because I don't want you to go into 2025, all right, and you go through 2025 and still you are not bearing fruits. Still you are not fruitful. Because when you talk to a lot of believers, they are concerned about is their stuff. They're concerned about their well-being. They're concerned about an increase in salary. They're concerned about a better life, and they're concerned about. But what I'm saying to you, where you are positioned, where you are placed there for purpose. All right. So let's go into some stuff here now. All right. Now, let me back it up again. Okay. How many of you agree with me? Just put it in the chat there. Let me chat with you a little bit. Just put it in the chat there. Those of you are on. I know this is somebody. I know probably I'm interfering with somebody parang now. You gotta go and visit somebody and all that stuff, but that's okay. All right. How many of you agree with me with what I'm sharing? Just text a yes for me there in the chat. Just text a yes for me. If you're on and you agree with me, all right, one, go ahead. Just text yes for me. If you're on and you agree with what I'm sharing, just text yes. All right. Okay, wonderful. Go ahead. Come on, everybody. Let's if you heard what I shared, just text yes if you agree with what it is I'm sharing. All right, concerning where you are positioned, concerning the impact, concerning what impact are you making in your family? What impact are you making in your community? Okay. Yes, you go to church and listen to me. You see folks in church. I say, Prophet Nigel, good to have you on, sir. Yes, you see people in church, and we have no problem with faithful in church and faithful in attendance and faithful in all of that. But yet we ask the question now, where the fruits of your years of being imparted to, where are the fruits? Okay, how many folks are you working with? Okay, how many are you working with? Are you working with somebody? Are you mentoring, coaching, whatever you want to call it? All right. But if you are sitting in a place where you call it church, and you are being edified, you are being informed, all right, you have been edified, you have been informed, you have been equipped for what? When you go in your home, when you go in your community, when you go on your job, which we call the marketplace or the streets. This is why I named this thing, I'm made for the streets. That's where you are made for to function. Okay? All right. Now, let's go back again. No, it is not the church you are made for. Let's go this and stuff. Now, I said to you, I'm not saying that the church is not important. You need the church, all right, because you serve the church, okay, and you should see in terms of when you go to church, you help, you do things in the church. The church is what we call, again, I'm going to say it again, where you meet to be edified, to be equipped, to be educated. Okay, that's what we call the educational institution of the kingdom. Let's really address it for what it is. It's a place where you go to be educated, you go to be informed. Okay, but when you get the information, when you get it now and you go back home in your family, in your community, on your job, that is where now you have to make an impact, to impart and begin to implement the things that you have learned. Okay, so the church is what you are chosen to use to make you. That's what we said. The church, God chose the church to make you. Notice if you go down into Ephesians, it talks about the fivefold ministry, for the edifying, for the equipping, for the perfecting of the saints. So the fivefold ministry, listen to me, the prophet, the pastor, the evangelist, the teacher, the apostle, fivefold ministry. Okay, when you connect in the church and you sit under the fivefold ministry, it is to edify the believers. Okay, it's to equip the believers or bring you into perfection. So when you come into perfection now, as you sit in the church, what are you supposed to do? Okay, because we notice you spend more time out there. Okay, now listen to me. So what we noted, we said the church is what God choose to make you. It is not what you were made for. Okay, this is why I said to folks that this teaching will rub a lot of people wrong, because it's not that I'm bashing the church or anything, but the church is not, you are not made for the church. Okay, you are made for the streets, you are made for the community. And when I say streets, I use streets as a term so that just to pique your interest. But when we talk about the streets, what we say the street is, let me show it here. Okay, the street is the society, the community. Okay, we talk about last week we mentioned it, the religious street. Okay, the family is a street. All those are streets. Okay, education, that's a street. That's the educational street. How many of you here are teachers? Okay, how many of you here you have, whether you have a business, you're a taxi driver, whatever you do, you're meeting people. That's a street. That's a street. Okay, what again? If how much you are a nurse, you're a doctor, you work in the medical field. That's a what? That's a street. We call it also, remember in one of my teachers, we call it the marketplace, but it's also the street. Okay, you have the government. How many of you in the government? Okay, how many of you have a business? All those things are street, and I'm challenging you. Don't move into 2025 and not have an impact in where you are placed and where you are positioned. Remember, I said to you also, I said, you're not looking for purpose. You came here with purpose. You were built, purpose was built inside of you. Okay, purpose was built inside of you. So we noted, I said to you, it's not the what so much in terms of what I was born for. What? Because when you come up in church, everyone wanted to know what I was born for, what I was made for. I'm looking, I'm searching, you're reading books, you have purpose-driven this and purpose-driven that. You have books on purpose, you want to find your purpose. So the what was there was an era, a time when everybody wanted to know their what. Okay, everybody wanted to know what's my purpose, what's my purpose, what's my purpose. Okay, now you find out the what. And I said to you, it's not so much that the what is wrong, but it's the where I'm positioned. Okay, so we make now the church, this whole building, we make that so kind of like in such a place where we become religious. Okay, and we just going to church, but then the where is the important, where I'm positioned to fulfill purpose. And I said to you, it's not the church, okay, it's your business, it's in the community, all right, where you work. That's the way. So even as you go through this stuff now, where are you? So you're a police officer. All right. What impact are you having as a police officer where you are positioned? Because remember, that's where your purpose is going to be fulfilled, where you are positioned. You have been equipped now, and that's your where. So somebody's asking, where? Come on. That's your where, folks. That's your where. Don't miss it. Do not miss it. Most of the miracles and the signs and the wonders that we talk about, okay, if we noted that with Jesus, okay, it's in the streets those take place. Okay, now in one of my teachings, I give you a definition of the marketplace. All right, and you could coin also the marketplace is same like a street, but the marketplace is more in terms of where your business is positioned. Okay, now these things are important for us because I don't want you to miss it. I really don't want you to miss it because you might find yourself fighting for a position in church. Okay, especially if you grow up and you never had position in life, and you come to church, because remember, church is a place where you are promoted based on virtue, not so much value. Okay, so because you're living good, you're behaving good, and you're faithful and all that stuff, you're good, virtue, you get promoted. So you don't have to really be educated, but you're virtuous. And in those days, a lot of individuals were positioned in church as a result of their virtue. Okay, And we said that when you go now in the streets, in the marketplace, it's not so much your virtue, because it's a place where your marketplace is a place where you make money, you make a difference. Are you making a difference where you are positioned? I'm going to ask the question again. Are you making a difference? You're moving into 2025. You got to make a difference, folks. You got to be the change agent in that place. Whether you're driving, whether you have a small business, wherever you are positioned, folks. Again, let's look at these patriarchs in the Bible. Let's look at them who are positioned in these places, and yet they were able to excel and exceed and expand and impact. They transform lives. Okay. I heard Dr. Truman said that some years ago. She said, you have to be the change agent in your space. You have to be the change agent in your space. When you change, people around you got to facilitate your change. So you're not asking why this place is like this and why no one is doing that and why. No, you have to do it because that's your way. Listen again, that's your way. So for those of you who are asking, you'll find out what is your what. Okay, now let's focus on your where you are positioned, where you are placed. That's where your purpose now is going to be fulfilled. It's the way, not so much the what, because you already find out what I was born for, what I was born with. That's purpose, because remember I said to you, you came here with purpose. You came here with purpose. When God made you, he built in purpose inside of you. So you're not looking for purpose on the outside. Purpose is on the inside. This is why it's not how much money they give you. It's something that drives you on the inside and drives you to do it. So when you get hold of that now, and I understand now it's my way and place, so that purpose now will begin to flow through me, because now I'm in my way. Okay. Most of us sometimes we miss it. We miss that aspect of it. And I don't want you to miss it in 2025. All right. So let's look at something. Let's look at this. And I really want to give you this. All right. Now, sometimes we spoke about the marketplace. All right. And I gave you I said to you, in the Greek society, okay, the marketplace was a gathering. Now remember, the marketplace was in the streets. Okay? Don't miss it. The marketplace was in the streets. I want you to focus on that now. I want to focus on where you are positioned. I don't want you to focus on the church. The church is making you to equipping you to fulfill your purpose in your way. Okay? Listen what I'm saying. Okay, so now you are in church 20 years, 15 years. You are sitting under the word, whether it's apostolic, the prophetic, the teaching ministry, the pastoral ministry, whatever. It builds you now. Now I have something to do. Okay, and for those of you who are young coming up, you understand now you are in a church, but you're supposed to be edified. You're supposed to be equipped. You're not going to stay all your life just coming to attend a church and just what and do what. Okay. Where's the fruits? The fruit of your labor. And this is so profound. Let me just digress a little bit. This is so profound with Jesus walking with his disciples. Okay, when he saw the fig tree had no fruit, the Bible said he cursed it because it had no fruit. The man who came and he planted the fig tree next to a vineyard and the fig tree was not producing no fruit. And the servant said, give me 1 year so I could dig around it. I could dig down. I could work on this tree so it could be fruitful. It's about fruits. It's about fruit. It's about being fruit. Let 2025 be about being fruit. Okay, you got to be fruitful. You are a tree. I am a tree planted by the rivers of water that bring forth fruit in my season. My leaves shall not wither, and whatsoever I do shall prosper. Guess what? I am that tree. You are that tree, because God sees us as trees. We're like a tree in Lebanon. You are the tree, and as a tree, you got to be fruitful. Okay? You got to be fruitful. So I'm challenging you for these few minutes on this live. Okay, purpose in your heart, purpose in your mind. I'm going to be fruitful in 2025. I'm going to be fruitful where I'm planted. Let's look at this and before we bring it in. Now, I said to you in that teacher, I said we look at in the Greek society. I said to you this, it was the marketplace or the street was a central ground where people from different walks of life gather for commerce, social interaction, and public discourse. Okay, and when we look at Jesus, remember, most of his ministry was not in the synagogue, it was not in the temple, it was not in there. Go back and read the New Testament and see where Jesus did most of his miracles. Come on. Where Jesus did most of his miracles. It was as he was going. Come on. Yes, he met with the Pharisees and the Sanhedrin council to address things in the temple. Yes, when he was growing up, the Bible said he went in. The first thing Jesus did, what he did, he walked in the temple, he opened the book, and the Bible said it was written, where it was written by Isaiah, the Spirit of the Lord is upon me because he have anointed me to preach the gospel about. He went into the temple. Guess what? Educated. Yes, he was a rabbi. Yes, he was educated. Yes, he was school. But after those years of preparation, what he did, he hit the streets. Where did he meet the woman at the well? At the well, it was not in the temple. Okay, where and I shared this with you last week. Where did he meet the tax collector? Was up on a tree. All right. Where the woman with the issue of blood met him. Come on, he was moving. So don't, and you see, sometimes, let me share this with you. Sometimes, because of our mindset, we think now that the only place that power could be is in the church. But remember, you and I, we are the church. You are carriers. Your body is the temple. That's not the only place, folks. Are you understand what I'm saying? You are the church. Okay? You are the church wherever you go. So where you have that way that you established there is that place where the kingdom got to manifest. That's where your purpose got to be fulfilled. That way. Okay, so don't dummy down your way. Don't downplay your way. Your way, where you are positioned. That's the home. That's your community. That's on your job. All right. Now I know for years, they never coming up in church, they never really focused on this because, people wanted to leave their job and to go on a missionary field. All right. They wanted to be missionaries. They wanted to be pastors and all that stuff. They wanted to travel away. They wanted to travel away. But now we understand that where you are on your job, that could be your mission field also, because that's your way. And that's where you have to fulfill purpose. Okay. So what it says here, all right. So we talk about the marketplace or the streets. This is where what different people, they will come together, interaction. All right. Now the marketplace now had sections. Remember we talked about that. It had sections called gates. Okay. Because your where you are positioned, that where now in society. That way now in society, guess what? It becomes a gate. This is what I'm saying. I'm going to make the connection. Your way, all right? Now you establish your what? Now your where, okay? That where now, where your position has a gate, okay? And this is biblical. So every marketplace, we said, had a section called gates where different groups or categories of people will gather together. They gather together in this place here now. All right, it's called the marketplace. So your where, okay, it becomes now, it has a gate, it becomes the marketplace. Okay, the marketplace. So whether we said just like how we talk about the different aspect of the streets, okay, the family, and it's the same thing. It's the same thing here now with the gates. All right, the marketplace, the politics, the lawyers, the doctors, the bankers, the merchants, all those people those days, they gathered together. All right, it was not just in the synagogue, folks. Are you catch what I'm saying? It was not just in the synagogue. Okay, and I don't want you to go away thinking that the church is the only place that power could manifest. If it was so, then how Jesus did all the miracles and signs and wonders when he was on the move. Okay? Because that's just the place that will equip you. Okay, so based on your need now, when you go to the city, all right, you can access one of these gates. So it was a gathering now. Why? Because these were a lot of people were there. All right, because that is what God wants you to do. He wants to reach the masses. Okay, he wants you to reach the masses. So he positioned you in the street, in the marketplace, at the gates. Okay, so your job, your business, your family. Why? Because people are coming through there. People are coming. Let me share this. Okay, God is about people. Yeah? All right, and you say, Dr. Cummings, why you say that? The Bible said that God sent his son, his only begotten son, to die for the world. All right, full of people. He loves people. All right. That place he positioned you, and have people in that place. Okay, that's the place where he wants you to dominate. That is the place he wants to manifest the kingdom through you. That's the place where he wants to use you for signs and wonders. That's the place that you can transform life. That's the place. So I'm praying that even as we share this topic, that guess what? Your perspective could change as a result of where you are positioned. Because if your perspective don't shift, you're not going to perceive where you are as the place where you're supposed to be. So you're going to just see it as a place to make money, not to make a difference. I'm going to say it again. You're going to just see it as a place to make money, to pay your bills, to make money, to make ends meet, to make money. All right. But it's a place also where you can make a difference. Are you understand what I'm saying? Okay. Because for too long, we see this place as a place to make a living. All right. To make some money, to pay bills and all that stuff. But it's a place where, guess what? You got to make a difference. You have the change agent there. And you will notice now when you look in the Bible now, you will realize now why God strategically positioned his sons and daughters, his sons in the marketplace. When he wanted to have an impact in these nations, he took his sons them there. All right. Now their going there was as a result of conflict, as a result of war and all kind of thing. But it was strategically done so that God could position his sons in those places, in the streets. Okay? So where Daniel was positioned was not coincident, because remember, Jeremiah, God had already told Jeremiah to prophesy that years before they went into captivity. Jeremiah was prophesying that they're going into captivity. All right? Years before the children of Israel were going to Egypt, God already spoke to Abraham about the Israelite, his children going down into Egypt. So don't think is coincident, is just accident. No, God knew exactly where he wants you. God knew exactly where he positioned you. So just how Daniel had a purpose in where he was positioned, just how Joseph had purpose where he was positioned, so you and I have a purpose where we are positioned. That's the way. And you got to see now that there's purpose in the place where you are positioned. Okay, stop looking at it as dismay, this place, and no. Stop looking. Change your perspective. Change your perspective based on where you are positioned. Change your perspective also based on what it is you are doing out in the streets. Because God wants to do great things there. He wants to do signs and wonders. You could be driving a maxi. You could have a business. You said it's a small business, but God said, no, come on. It's a gate. It's in the streets. And you have people coming in and out. All those people coming in and out. You think that is by accident? No, it's not. It's not. But your perspective have to shift where that is concerned. So then guess what? When your perspective shift now, you could see value. You could see that value could come out of it. But if your perspective don't shift based on it, you're not going to see the value in what it is, because you're going to just take it for granted, and you're going to think that, Oh, I just have a sewing shop here. I just sewing some clothes. Oh, no, I just cleaning the house here. It's because we don't see value in what we do. We don't see value in where we are positioned. Because we just look at it as what? I'm here to make $1. But sister, I'm telling you, where you are positioned as purpose, your position there is more than to make $1. It's to make a difference so the kingdom can manifest through you. That's the streets. That's your street. All right, so let's go back to this now. So guess what we said? So these were what? Central gathering places where you go to exchange goods and services. It's called the marketplace. So you had people from all over the world coming together in the marketplace. So you were able now to meet different people, different culture, different race, different religion. They come together in the marketplace. When you sit together on your job, you meet people from different walks of life, people who do different things. Their faces differ, their condition differ. Some sick, some have marital problems, financial problems. Some they're sick in their body, but they're in front of you every day. Those are the people we got to impact. Those are the people. And God said, daughter, I position you there so the kingdom of God can manifest through you. All right? So I hope you get in this. The marketplace is the place where what? World change takes place. World change takes place where? On the streets. All right? Again, let's go back and see where he met some of those guys. Okay, when Jesus wanted to meet his disciples, where he meet them? Did he go in the synagogue and he called the 12 disciples? No. Come on. He went by Peter fishing. He went on the streets looking for them. He didn't find them. And look, the Messiah wanted to pick 12 disciples to make them into apostles, but he didn't went in the synagogue to pick these guys. He didn't look for them in the synagogue. All right? Because when he meet Peter, guess what? Peter was a fisherman. He was already on the streets. He was in the marketplace. Okay? And you could trace and see where he met all the disciples that he picked was never in the synagogue. Show me where he met any one of them in a church service. None. It was on the streets. It was in the marketplace. Don't underestimate where you are positioned. All right? Remember the scripture I shared with you in Acts chapter 17, verse 6? The conversation again, and I'm sharing this with you because I want, as we transition into 2025, I want your whole perspective to see in terms of the value that you bring into where you are positioned. You got to see the value into where you are placed and where you are positioned, so that purpose now will begin to flow through. You got to see the value. All right, because if we set purposes in and the creator wired you with purpose. Everything you need, he built it inside of you. You're not looking for purpose on the outside. Come on. You are engineered with purpose on the inside of you. Okay? So what Paul said, he said, it says Paul was waiting for them in Athens. Go back and read it, Acts chapter 17, verse 6. All right? He was greatly distressed to see the city was full of items. Okay? So he reasoned in the synagogue both with Jews and God-fearing Greeks. Okay, so yes, in the synagogue, which is a church, which is a temple, whatever, he reasoned there. And as well as in the marketplace, day by day by day. The marketplace, that's your way. That's where you're positioned. That's the place where you work. That's the streets. That's where you spend most of your time. That's where you spend most of your time. The Bible says what? You reason with them in the synagogue, which is the church, and in the marketplace, day by day, by day, by day, every day. And guess what he said? Look what he said. He said, let me read it again. He said, and he reasoned with them. He see that the city was full of items, all right, idol worship and thing. He said he was greatly distressed. Okay, he was greatly distressed. What are we faced with in our country in Trinidad that is distressing us? The murders, the killing, all right, the gruesome drive-by shooting. Okay, I'm in Trinidad now, and whenever I'm meeting people out here, they say, "Where you from?" Trinidad, and the first thing, wow, the murders, wow, Trinidad, worse than Jamaica, all that stuff. That's what you hear. Okay, That's what you're hearing. But it's the place where we are positioned. Are you understand what I'm saying? And Paul said, he said, you see, the city was full of items. You see, he was greatly distressed by what he saw in the city. How many of you are greatly distressed of what's going on in our country? All right, you read the newspaper, or you go on the Instagram, or you see it on the Facebook, you see the news coming over the media, the murders, the drive-by, the killings, every day it's going up. It's close to 600 plus now. All right, and who knows, it could be 700 because, and that is what they count. What about the murders that didn't count? What about the people who, I mean, they didn't report it? Okay, are you understand what I'm saying? Paul said I was greatly distressed. But what he did, so he reasoned in the synagogues, which is the church, both Jews and God-fearing Greeks, as well as in the what? The marketplace, day by day. That's your way. That's the place where you are positioned. The Bible said he reasoned with them. He did not shout. He did not what? Condemn. He didn't condemn. This is not time to condemn. All right? In the synagogue, as well as in the marketplace, the Bible said day by day he did this. Okay, and I give you some data. When I did this on the marketplace, I said it has been recorded that the Jews had that Jesus had around 132 public appearances. Okay, now if we say our pattern for sonship is Jesus Christ, let's talk about that. Okay, and it has been recorded that Jesus had 132 public appearances, and 122 out of the 132 was in the streets, was in the marketplace. Okay, so he made 132 appearances, and out of those 132, 122 of those appearances was in the marketplace, was in the streets. How much time you spend in your church? How much hours you spend in church? How much hours you spend home? How much hours you spend on your job? Some of you, this month here, was Christmas, you work 25 hours and you work 8 days a week. You spend more time out there. Some of us, we don't even have time to come to church. Some of us, we work so much that we don't even have time to worship. Let's go into all of that. Now, and I just show you that we spend more time there. Why? And guess what? And most people, their focus is to make a dollar, not to make a difference, because we don't see the value in where we are positioned. We don't see the value in what it is we are doing as kingdom. We don't see it. But I'm sharing this with you to let you know that where you are positioned, come on, has value. God placed you there for purpose. It's not by accident. It's not by accident. Okay? Let's share this again. Out of 52 parables, it says that Jesus had 45 were about in the streets. 45 was in the marketplace. Okay? Out of the 45 parables that he did. Now, and I said to you, the challenge now is not the call to it, but are you prepared for it? Listen to me again. Are you prepared for it? Are you prepared for the streets? That's my question for you. Are you prepared for the streets? Okay? Are you prepared for the streets? Now, we established what is the streets. You have the family street. You have the banking streets, the economic streets. You have all those streets where you're working. That's the street. Okay? But are you prepared for it? Well, somebody will say, well, Dr. Cummings, I don't know what to say. So all these years you have been in church, and now you're in the streets, you're in the marketplace, you're on your job, you don't know what to say. All right? I'm praying that will not be your story in 2025. That when we hit January, that by the time we hit January, you're going to see the need, the value, and stop downplaying where you are positioned. Okay? Stop it. Don't downplay it. See value in where you may not be on top there in terms of leadership. Okay? You may be at the middle, you may be at the end, but listen to me. Trust me, see value where you are placed. So you can reap value, you can add value. If you see value, you add value. All right? So you must be able to impact the streets. That's optional. All right? So the concept now of this whole what we're talking about here now is that having dominion, that dominion, all right, is the way we contribute dominion commission. The commission, because remember that commission in Genesis, fruitful, multiply, replenish, subdue, and have dominion. Okay, how can you have dominion if you don't see value in where you are positioned? Okay, how can you have dominion if your aim is just to make a dollar, not make a difference? Okay, when people come to you on your job, sick, broken, wounded, come on, what can you offer them? What can you offer them? What can you offer them? They're sick, they're hurt. What can you offer them? Okay? So where you are positioned to function as sons of God, to manifest the kingdom dominion for the glory of God, where you are positioned. Okay? So if you're to look back now in, for instance, January, February coming down, okay, did you have the kind of impact? All right? Was the glory of God revealed through you where you were positioned? Or did you just went to church and you had a good service? People fall down and you had good worship songs and everybody excited. When you go back home or when you go to work, what impact did you make? And that's my challenge for you. And that's why I'm challenging you. Okay, you cannot afford to sit down under a ministry that is imparting and teaching you for years, and you yourself is not making impact in your community, on your job, in your family. I'm telling you, that is ludicrous. Okay? If that is your story, that story got to change. And stop focusing on what's in it for me. All right? What's in it for me? What's in it for me? Okay? All right? I want this and I want that. But when you make things happen for others, God's going to make things happen for you. I'm telling you that. Let's focus on being a blessing to others. Okay? Don't ask about why the place is like this and why things are doing that. What you can do. You know, that's unique, because that is what Joseph, when Joseph went into prison, what he did. The prison was a rat-infested dungeon, smelling and all that stuff. The minute Joseph went in there, he added value to a place that had no value, because he was a person of value. And that's important, folks. If you are a person of value, you see value in yourself. No matter where they put you, no matter what position, you're going to add value. Come on, I'm telling you that. The place is out of order, the place is chaotic, all that stuff. But the minute you touch down in that place, guess what? You start to put order where there's disorder. That is what Joseph did. He made a difference. He made a difference. Come on. He made a difference. You cannot sit on the let's use this thing. As Paul said, he was schooled at the feet of Gamaliel. All right. You cannot sit in a church, folks, for all these years and not make an impact. Most of us are trained to serve in the church. Let me touch this now. Most of us, we are served to train in the church. We are trained to serve in the church, but you are not trained to take dominion and dominate the streets or the marketplace. You are trained to serve in the church. And I'm saying to you, it's not bad, but it's not good for the marketplace or the streets, the place where you're supposed to function. So all your training is for the church. Okay? Then what training now is for the streets. When you meet those folks on the streets who don't go to church, who don't know anything about theology and all that stuff. They don't know the church talk, the church lingo and all that stuff. How are you going to deal with those people? All right? You are trained to take dominion. You are not trained to take dominion. And that's why this dominion mandate is important. You got to be trained to take dominion and dominate the streets, dominate the marketplace, dominate the marketplace. Okay? Where your house is on that block. Come on. People are supposed to be running to your house. That's supposed to be the balm in Gilead. You understand what I'm saying? That's supposed to be the healing balm in Gilead. When people are sick, when people are hurting, when families going through stuff, they're running who? By Bernadette. They're running by Debbie or Giselle. They're running by your home. Why? Because your home now is the balm where people could be healed, delivered, and set free. They could get a word. Okay? So I'm challenging you all tonight. Just because you're a Christian working in the marketplace of the street doesn't mean I'm fulfilling dominion marketplace. All right? Not because you're working there doesn't mean you're fulfilling it. Because you could be positioned, like many of us, we are positioned in the streets and the marketplace, but we are not doing anything. Okay? That's the pearl. All right? Because the marketplace mandate isn't to be a Christian in the marketplace. Your mandate isn't to be a Christian in the marketplace or in the streets. It is to invade. Listen to me again. I want to say this again, and I want you to catch this. All right? The marketplace mandate, the street, okay? All right? The mandate isn't to be a Christian in the streets, okay? It is to invade, it is to impact and have influence for the glory of God, all right? And good of the people. That's your purpose out there in the streets. You got to invade, you got to impact, and you have to implement. Are you hearing what I'm saying? That's your mandate in the streets, on your job, in the community. Let your perspective, let your mindset begin to shift in that direction. Are you catching what I'm saying? But if you spend all your time, coming to church and you're worried about this money and this house and this and that, so all your years is just about you. All right? But who have you impact? All right? So invading now the sectors and streets of society with the system of the kingdom. That's what it's all about. Okay? All right? And the two things I mentioned in the text, it says, we are salt of the world and we are light of the world. We are not salt of the church, and we are not light of the church. We are salt of the world, of the streets, in the marketplace. You and I, we are salt. You and I, we are light. Let your light so shine. This is why the Bible says we know it. He said, let your light so shine before men so that they can see what? Your good works and glorify the Father which is in heaven. What's your good works? I didn't say this. This is scriptures. He said, let your light so shine. All right? That men will see your good works. Here we go again, work. And glorify the Father which is in heaven. So how God's going to be glorified? Through the works. What you are doing. Where you are positioned. In the streets, in the marketplace. All right? They're going to see the good works. But what good work are we doing? Okay? Salt is influence. Go. All right? Salt is influence. We talk about that. So we are invading. Right? We are invading. So I want to challenge you now to invade in this season. Let this year end with that in mind. Okay? I'm going to invade, I'm going to impact, I'm going to implement. I'm salt, I'm light. Okay? I'm salt, I'm light. All right? So you have to invade now the different streets. What streets are you going to invade? Your family street. Okay? The business street. Okay? What street? The banking street. What street are you placed on? That's the street that you got to invade. Think about, how can I invade this street? Okay? That's your mission field. That's your mission field. All right? You should be invading. Not only invading, but also impacting. So you don't just want to invade what you want to impact. Let your light so shine before men. that they may see your good works and glorify the Father which is them. They're going to see your good works. So your works, by your works, your work will have an impact. All right? So which means if I'm going to make an impact now, it means now I need to be exceptional. If I'm going to make an impact, I need to be exceptional. I challenge every one of you, the 18 of you on this live here now, I challenge you, all right, to make an impact and be exceptional, all right, in the street where you are positioned, right? So if I'm going to be exceptional, I need to develop, because remember I said to you, most of us are trained for the church. We're not trained for the streets. We're not trained for the marketplace. That is why now, when you look now, you see most people who are out there who dominate in the marketplace or the streets is people who are trained for it. So you have church folks going now in the marketplace and in the street, but we are not trained. All right. So we are not getting the cream of the crop. All right. We find ourselves more serving than leading because we are not trained, because we don't see the necessity and the need for kingdom training in the marketplace and in the streets. We don't see it as kingdom. We don't see it as holy. Okay? Why? Because again, that virtue and that value and virtue concept comes back in. Okay? No, and I'm saying this, and I'm not bashing, I'm saying this because this is how we grew up, because everything was the church, everything was holy and righteous and all that stuff. We have all that down pack. But I'm saying to you, if you're going to make an impact, all right, to invade and also impact, it means now you need to be exceptional, all right? And if you're going to be exceptional now, you need to develop your skills, all right, to develop yourself out there, because that's what the whole street and marketplace course is about value. And that's why you see now there are believers who don't have value out there. They have virtue in church, okay? But the value aspect, because we were trained to impact and invade the church. All right? Think about it. Just think about what I'm saying. All the church training is to impact, invade the church. And then from the teaching I'm sharing with you, you know now that the church, what the church is for. All right? It's to make you, develop you to function out there. That's what it's for. All right? All right. Some of you are climbing up the ladder. You have made an incredible impact, and you are just doing it because you have a godly character and good gifts. So you're making an impact, but you don't know how to intentionally deploy a gift in the marketplace, because it got to be intentionally done. Okay? We do it because we have a gift and we have good character, you understand? So we get it elevated, but really to put our hand to say, this is how it's done, we really don't know. Value, virtue. Value, virtue. You're going to impact the streets. All right, folks, I think I want to stop here. I hope that what I'm sharing with you is how many of you received something here tonight? Just text and let me know. All right, if you receive, I know somebody probably you're doing your parang and you're listening on, but just text me there. Let me know what's happening. All right. All right. Well, it's true. Okay, it's true. Folks, let me tell you this. I'm challenging you. All right. Nice, wonderful, Nigel. Good to have you on again. All right. I'm challenging you all. Okay. All right. Nice. Thank you, Janice. I'm challenging you all, folks. All right. What the marketplace now, what the marketplace value is not you being a good person. You need to be a good person, yes. All right. But the marketplace or the street don't really value that. Okay. But that's not what their value first. Their value difference you make. The difference you make out there. Okay. They don't value that you just being a good person. And we are not just saying don't be a good person and don't have character and all that stuff. We are not saying that. But I'm just sharing with you in terms of what's value on the streets, what's value in the marketplace. The value first, all right, that you value the difference you make. What difference are you making in the streets? What difference are you making in the streets? So you see someone in the streets, All right? They already have good character, but they're helping people. They're feeding the poor. They're doing all that stuff. That's what they're doing. All right? And I'm saying that to show you the value, the difference you make. What difference are you making in the streets and in the marketplace? In the church is virtue. In the marketplace is what? Is value. It's value, folks. And I want you to understand this. I want you to catch this. Okay, don't miss this. Don't go into 2025 making that mistake. Okay, we are salt and we are light. Let me just share this before we close up. Remember the woman who came to the prophet. All right, that's in the Old Testament. Her husband had died, and he worked with the prophet, and the bill collector is coming to collect. All right, because he owed an outstanding amount of money, and he didn't pay it, and the bill collector is coming now, and because he died and he left, but he was a prophet who worked with Elijah the prophet. Okay, and they say, listen, if you don't have the money, we're going to take your 2 sons. We're going to take your 2 sons and work them as bond slaves. All right, so they could work out the money. And the woman now as a mother, she don't want that. So she goes to the prophet. She goes where? To the prophet. Okay, she goes to the prophet and explain the prophet to the situation. And what the prophet said to her, he gave her a plan of action. He what? He gave her a plan of action. All right? He said, I'm not going to prophesy to you. I'm going to give you a plan. This is what I'm saying. A plan of action, which means something that you will have to do. I know you come for a prophecy, but I'm going to give you a plan. Listen to me. I'm telling somebody, as you transition from 24 to 20 to 25, you need a plan. You have prophecy, but you need a plan. I'm going to say this again. You need a plan for 2025 if you're going to be successful, if you're going to make an impact in the marketplace. You need a plan. I'm speaking to somebody. You got a prophecy already. And the reason why the prophecy didn't come true, because you didn't implement the plan. There was no problem. The problem wasn't in the prophecy. The problem was not in the prophecy. The problem was in the plan. So I challenge you. As we come, we have some more days for this year. Get a plan. What I'm going to do in 2025. All right? How I'm going to see value in my position in 2025. How I'm going to make a difference. Not just make $1. I want to make a difference. Because if I make a difference, I'll make $1. All right? So I want to make more than $1. I want to make a difference. I want to impact, and I want to impart, and I want to implement in 2025. All right? My problem is not the what. My problem is the where. Okay? I know what, but the where I'm supposed to do it. And the where is not in the church. As much as you're excited in the church, the where is not in church. Most of your fruit bearing is not in the church. It's going to be in the marketplace. It's going to be in the streets. It's going to be where you're positioned. Because you are light and you are salt. All right, so I want to stop here, and I want to thank everyone for taking this time, all right, to really sit in on what it is I did here tonight. I hope that you are blessed, okay? And before we go, I want to pray for you. Remember, we're going to be in ETI New Grange on Tuesday, 8:30, all right? Remember, we're going to 8:30 to 10, so you can go back home, spend some time with your family and all that stuff. But don't miss it. Hear what the Lord has to say as we focus on this whole transition for 2025. So, Father, we thank you for your people who took time, even in this whole time of Christmas and all that stuff. God, we thank you for those who took time to really listen to your word this evening, to get clarity on purpose, clarity on their way, clarity, oh God, on adding value. I ask, oh God, that even as they go over this teaching, go over this message, that you're going to bring more clarity and confirmation. I decree and I declare the blessings of God upon your life. And may the plans for 2025 be clear, be precise, and may you implement it step by step, like that woman who went to the prophet. So, Father, we thank you in Jesus' name. Amen. Wonderful.